Mabuhay Kamustika. Welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Welcome to this live podcast a little bit later than usual, but maybe there will be some more people around. And today we're going to be talking about, I guess, thoughts about talking to your children about an age gap with a Filipina. Is that something that anybody has thought about it might be a problem or difficult or embarrassing or anything like that. That's what I want to talk about today here. um, Hard to keep track of the day of the week. I think it's Wednesday over here in the Midwest. It's beautiful. It's 7 o'clock and it's so light outside. I'm used to doing this in the dark, at even 5 or 6 o'clock. So that's the topic. I've got a couple of links here at the over on the right side of the website address, lvbts.com. Fine website designed by Mr. E for Love Beyond the Sea. Right below that, you can go to the same place, but it's a direct link to where you can hear podcasts on Love Beyond the Sea. So I think we've got everything set up right. We do. For a while, I thought maybe I had left this on private. I had some trouble with, lost all my settings and all my presets, and that even carried over to the live stream. So I had a little bit of trouble there. One live stream, I did it thinking nobody was there, but it was because I was on private. So as usual, I want to cover something, go over my thoughts, my notes, and then after that, I'm here. We can talk about anything, but the main thing is I want to get the main stuff out of the way, and then we can go all kinds of directions after that. John fills the Phoenix. Good morning to you where you are. So it's probably 8:06 in the morning. If so, I'm doing you a favor and starting this at a time when you don't have to get up early. So, um, John, how are you doing tonight? Thank you for being here. John is in Cebu. I am in Nebraska, and married to a Filipina. Now, I would probably wear this shirt anyway, even if I wasn't married to a Filipina, because it just looks cool. It's a cool looking shirt. You're in Sabanga. How far away is that from Cebu, or is that like part of Cebu? We hope to go ourselves to the Philippines. We hope in December, spending Holy Week with the family. Um, and yes, I believe Easter is this weekend. Easter used to be a big holiday here in the United States, but it isn't anymore. And used to get 1 or 2 days off work, and then they just took that away. I don't know how long ago, but I remember being shocked when it happened. And so we hope to get to the Philippines in December. I'm hearing that maybe around June might hear something positive. Don't think the airlines are going to require vaccination. I have not been vaccinated, and my wife hasn't either. Both of us could go and get vaccinations. I just want my wife to be very safe and know what she's doing. Just because the government is saying get a vaccine doesn't mean it's not going to kill you or something. If you remember back to the 70s, there was, I don't know if it was SARS or something else, but we were being told to vaccinate. It was a easy, safe thing to do, painless, and people were dying, and billions of dollars of lawsuits, I think I read, where nothing had even been done. And I can just see the same thing happening here. Um, a lot of Americans are opposed to taking the virus or the vaccine, excuse me. I would rather get the virus, get sick, recover, and have um, lifetime immunity. And I mean, I'm 59. My wife is 32. She certainly doesn't need it. Um, this is a big decision, I guess, if you're a husband. This isn't the topic here tonight. It's going to be about something that much less serious, but as the husband of my wife, I feel like I'm responsible to protect her. And just because she could get vaccinated doesn't mean that I think it's the best thing for her to do. And so we're going to go. And then she changed her mind after showing her some videos kind of to the contrary. I think she needs to get both sides of it. I think we all need to always get both sides of things. You know, something that is pretty much experimental gene therapy. I don't want my wife putting that in her body. Nobody on earth can say with a straight face they know 3, 5, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road what the complications may be. Father Wills, thank you for joining us along with Phil's Phoenix tonight. Only here for a short while. Well, I should have started at 6. I used to start at 5 and then over there come at 6. Then people show up late, so I start at 7. I want to talk about talking to your family, your children, about age gap, the Filipina, and I kind of veered off here into the vaccine. It's in the news all the time. A lot of big things going on in the country at this time, and I just want to make sure my wife doesn't just get the vaccine because somebody told her to get the vaccine. I don't mind putting things in my body that I think are safe and proven and have a track record of safety and yet still know the risks. But I just felt uncomfortable about my wife getting the vaccine. I can't tell her what to do, of course, but I can explain to her why she might want to hold off on that. I just think it's better to get the virus, get sick, and then you should be fine. I don't expect to have any, and to die from it. The odds of that are almost nil. And I'm 59. She's 32. She's never even had a flu shot. I don't want her putting um, this COVID vaccine in her arm when I know that it was put to market way faster than it should have been to do it right. I know how corners are cut. I know the drug manufacturers have immunity from being sued if something goes wrong. That's a huge red flag. Election year, huge red flag. I think the thing has been politicized for all it's worth. And I just said, hon, if you want to get it, I won't stop you. I don't want to get it myself. If she gets one, I'll get it, I guess, just for unity, even though I don't want it. And I would think it would be unconstitutional to make anybody get it. But we'll see. I could have got mine myself. I turned that down. I can always make an appointment. She can always make an appointment. I would rather wait and see what happens, what information comes out. Just a lot of red flags. Talk about red flags in dating and marrying a Filipina. I think there's a lot of red flags with this vaccine. I don't think I'll ever feel safe with Sinovac. Is that the brand name for COVID vaccine available in the Philippines? And I wonder if Filipinos would get it first. I would assume, although I don't know. I think they can get it. I just don't think they've rolled it out, as fast as other countries. And if that's the one made in China, I don't know. I know the Filipinos don't feel safe with that. They don't want the one from China. Okay, Father Wolf, so I'll get into that. I was just waiting for a few people to come here. I have some thoughts. You may agree, I may disagree. Also waiting for my phone to show the comments, and of course, it is not, and I have no idea why, because, okay, now here it is. Just have to click away. Okay, talking about your age gap with a Filipina. I think this is an interesting topic tonight. Now, this is a request, actually. They asked for a video about our and how our children dealt with it. make this much bigger so I can see it better. Should have done that already. So, we didn't have any. But by the way, please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea, where I try to give higher Phil West education to foreigners and Filipinas. This is a good topic tonight. And I had not put any thought into this before, but it will be of interest to some viewers. And for a while, I was hoping that, I would be able to address this one day with my own child. Comments are welcome, of course. That's what we do live streams for. Let me know your thoughts on how your children have dealt with your relationship with a younger Filipino, how you've talked to them about it, if that is your situation. Otherwise, maybe you'll learn something from this today. So different groups of children by age. Let's start with, I really hate this, how one day something works, the next day it doesn't. Start with your small children. So I won't be able to see your comments unless I go over here, and I see some comments over here. Yeah, kids, older expats. Yeah, the one from China. I would want to pass on that one too. Let's talk here about your small children. And I just like to throw this phone away. Your small children. It would be normal for them to have some surprise, shock, or skepticism, depending on how old they are. If they're quite young, they might not notice that it is a different type of marriage yet, but eventually they will be around other children whose parents are about the same age and will be curious why your parents are different, why they are so far apart in age. I can imagine other children making fun of your child, as they often do, for something they don't understand. There are things you can't make them understand, but there are some things you can say to a school-aged child of yours, like a smaller child. You can tell them that married couples don't have to be the same age, and many relationships are like yours. They might not be aware of that, but it is true. You can tell them that you chose a wife who you thought would be a good mother someday, and that you love her more than any woman in the world. They will likely get challenged by some stereotypes the other children gather, from their own parents. I would want my child prepared to know how to respond to their peers, to other people. Not that ultimately it matters, but you don't want them to just feel ashamed or punch somebody in the face. You'd like for them to be able to respond in a sensible way. For example, if they are asked, why is your dad so much older than your mom? I'd ask them to reply with, because he was born before she was. If they continue to ask, they could reply with, my dad thinks my mom is very pretty, and leave it at that. Do you agree with me? Have you ever had to talk to your relationship, defend it to your small children? I know we talk about this with your friends, your parents, your peers, but what about your children? Now, I don't have any idea if junior high age children make fun of children with parents who have an age gap relationship. I can only speculate that they would. Let the last word be, my parents love each other. I would tell them not to argue or get upset with other children who are probing with their questions and hope. That is good enough. So what about your older children? This is where the biggest concern usually is with how children will react to an age gap relationship. I'm sure you can recall, if you've liked the show, 90 Day Visa, where inevitably there's always some dissent to the man's relationship with the Filipina, in that case, not married yet, because of their age difference. The first time it comes up will be before the Westerner marries a younger woman from the Philippines. A younger child might just have to deal with the unusualness of it, but as the child grows up, their minds will develop, and they will have a very different perspective. Yes, the relationship is still unusual, but here are some other questions they might ask you. Some might simply just want to know, but others might be very skeptical of your response. The stereotypes. Again, you've heard these. She's only after your money. You might reply, I understand your concern, however, and then just tell them why you don't think she's after my money. For example, she never asked me for my money. Now, not all Filipinas are scammers. That's a stereotype. The same thing goes for a green card or a visa. You can say, I don't think that will be a problem because, or I agree with your skepticism. I understand why you feel that way. But here's why I don't think that is the case with us. I can see why you say that. But, with us, that's just not, the way I see it ending. And here's why. Well, while with a younger child, they might get away with kind of deflecting the questions. At the older child stage, it helps to use some reasoning. By the way, I would not get defensive at these questions. You might feel like they are, interrogations. It is a golden opportunity to respond with reason. That's all. You'll hear, well, she's just eventually going to leave you. I've certainly heard that. We'll be coming up on 6 years here. It was pretty good for getting married in less than 8 weeks. And we hadn't met before I, started the petition to go over there and, marry her and have whatever done we could have done beforehand to speed everything up. So she will leave you eventually. How about responding something like, don't you think I have considered that already? I wasn't born yesterday. I might look like it, but I wasn't born yesterday. Or you could say, do you think I would want that to happen? If they say, these relationships never work out, you could tell them that they often do work out and that many same-age relationships don't work out at the same time. If they ask you what you could possibly have in common, let them know what you do have in common, whether it be religious convictions, shared interests, or that you both want to make each other happy. And you don't have to please everyone. Something I've said in other videos is that the foreigner and Filipina in an age gap marriage should enjoy finding things that they can find in common and enjoy together, new experiences with us, getting out in the car and going somewhere for a few days has been fun. I used to think it would just be, terribly boring to get in a car, not be able to move, and you're driving 80 miles an hour. You can actually drive 85 miles an hour, I think, going through South Dakota. We went to Minnesota, I don't know, last year, and we may go again soon before my wife starts school and continues to work full time, by the way. So she's going to need to refresh and get away because it's going to be a little bit of a grind for a while. Going to short trips has been fun. Plays, these live plays, big productions. That's pretty cool. I really like that. So being married to this younger woman has helped my life. And I would like to think if there are any doubters that they have been persuaded differently if they just know something about, our lives together. I don't get hung up on what we did not have in common when we married. I didn't, frankly, know a whole lot about her. Because I really wasn't focusing on our hobbies and stuff like that. I am more interested in what we have already and what we can develop together. I want to run over here and check this. Oh, the option for Cindy to get one is gone now. The, what do you call it? The vaccine, Sinovac from China. Phoenix, my son was 22. When Cindy and I got together. He's a makeup artist and movie star. I'm going to have to miss that one. I don't know who the makeup artist and movie star is. I'm flattered if you think it's me. I think that's what you're referring to. So, John, while I continue here, go ahead and cool motion. Thank you for being here. Hello from Las Vegas. If you guys have ever had to do this and talk to a child about this relationship, I mean, did you hem and haw your way through it? Did you get defensive? Did you just try not to talk about it? What were the concerns they raised the most? Think about that as I continue here. My wife and I really like to watch Netflix together. Just, sit close, watch a couple of shows, or lie in bed and watch a movie or something like that. Nothing better in the whole wide world other than just being with her and holding her all night. Now, that was new to me, and it is fun as we watch these shows and we ask each other, how we think it's going to end and who did it, and there's a twist coming. What's the twist going to be? And we're about even in figuring out who done it. But it's just always fun to sit there and do something like that. And the age gap hasn't mattered. Filipinas with the age gap know what they're getting into. And they're not born yesterday either. Give them some credit. They are very much able to adapt and be with an older guy, as I can attest. And my wife and I just watched some movies recently, and it's just really fun to do. And again, the traveling, even longer traveling. We have some goals for travel. It all kind of depends on this coronavirus situation. I like it now. I just could never settle down and relax, but I like it now. You should certainly pleasantly tell your children about the good qualities of your Filipina. They don't know who she is. They have these ideas in their mind, stereotypes, and excuse me, that time again, coughing. More about her than they do. So tell them about the good things you see in her. You can point out that you are older and wiser than when you were younger and are making the best decision that you can make. If they confront you with a question like, maybe they wouldn't, I don't know, but if they said, Dad, all you want is her body. You know how parents and children, probably say things to each other that they wouldn't say to someone else. So maybe they would say that. Dad, all you want is her body. I would say, of course I do. I think she's beautiful. But that's not all she is. She, talk about these other qualities. She's, kind. She's, resourceful. She's such a great homemaker. She's just what I've been looking for. I mean, what do your kids want? You to be miserable or something like that? Well, I wouldn't think so. I don't see any point in denying something like this, where she says, wow, you just, you're attracted to her. It's all about looks. Of course you're attracted to her. Tell them that. Just get that out of the way. But again, that doesn't mean that's the only reason you want to marry her. And she may be attractive and she may be young. And as long as you can keep up with her and not try to, boss her around like she's your slave or your child or something like that, I think these relationships work out. I've made a bunch of videos on the age gap. I have a playlist called Younger Wife or something to that effect. You can check that out, where I go into more detail about this relationship. I do think you have to know some things. I think it is different than a same age relationship. I think it always comes down to how you treat the other person. Because like I said, a lot of same age relationships don't work. Relationships where they knew each other a long time before getting married doesn't work. Well, we got 6 years of marriage almost coming up. So I'd like to think that, something is working. If your children contend that this Filipina just couldn't possibly love you, come on, let them know she will have to prove to you that she doesn't love you. I would tell my children that I'm glad they are concerned and that I want to marry someone they can have respect for, and very importantly, that I want them to give this woman a chance. Cool motion. I'm 39. Filipina, my old man is 40. And white. Ooh, that's a bad word. Just like white band-aids in the news. So let's say if your children are close to the Filipina's age, yes, it would be strange having a age as the children. How is a foreigner to acknowledge the validity of their concerns? But you don't have to be apologetic for marrying a younger woman from the Philippines. I would politely let the older children, who might be about the same age as the Filipina, know that I expect them to respect this woman for being my wife. That's absolutely going to have to be essential if they want to be in my life, or if they want to be in any kind of a will. They will respect this woman for being my wife. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. She might not be their biological mother, but she is my wife, and I expect her to be treated respectfully. I would tell them that this woman is my top priority over them because she is my wife. They need to understand that. They need to know their place. That's me. You might feel differently. That's okay. But I wouldn't have any gray here or blurred lines. I want to be very clear on how things are going to be. I would remind them why I married this woman. That is to say, what qualities I saw in her. So here's the goal. I'd say the goal of such conversations should be to talk about qualities of this Filipina you are attracted to. I did a whole live stream, probably 2 of them, because there were so many on qualities of Filipinas. And I do have a playlist with all the live streams on there, by the way. So talk about the qualities of this woman you are attracted to. That includes, her life and time in the Philippines, which is probably more difficult than it has been for your children, and that this woman is more mature than you are giving her credit for. Give credence to your children's opinions. Acknowledge you think their concerns are valid, and you understand where they're coming from, and people are going to talk. Ask for them to give the Filipina a chance, but demand that they respect her, like her or not. Ask them if they want you to be happy. You desire your children's approval, not just their acceptance, but all you can do is your best to help them accept the decision that you have made. If I was going to get married, and either the woman I wanted to marry or myself could not gain approval of all the parents, I don't think the time is right to marry them. But this is a little bit different. I did ask for and receive my wife's father's permission to marry his daughter, and that is not always a formality in the Philippines. Sometimes they say no. I did get his permission though. As far as I know, my mother was okay with it. Talking about parents now. And maybe since they're older, they'll be a little bit more accepting. And if my twin sister had been alive at that time, she would have heartily approved. I know that, age difference or not, and she would really enjoy the company of my wife. I think if you're going to be part of another family and they're going to be a part of yours, there should not be a problem right off the bat with family acceptance. Now, Is this different from needing approval from my children since both are family issues? Should the children's opinions and feelings carry the same weight as the foreigner's parents or his Filipina's parents? I almost wish I hadn't asked that question. Up until now, I have been speaking with the assumption there will not be major pushback from the children of the man marrying a younger Filipina. But what if there is? I mean, you're not in the same, if they're older and not living with you, well, that may be a little bit of a factor too. If my parents or the Filipina's parents were dead set against it, I think there's credence in at least waiting to get married. Perhaps in time, they will not object. If you state your position well, then I'd like to think your children would probably give you the benefit of the doubt. If I had children who were skeptical, I would do my best to assure them that this woman can be trusted, that I love her and want to take care of her, and think she will be a good wife to me. Acknowledge that any marriage involves risk. You know that. And you're not always going to get along, and you're going to have to learn how to bounce back from some squabbles, some arguments, differences of opinion. But you want them to give the Filipina the benefit of the doubt. Now, if there is some protest, in time, your children might fully accept your love beyond the sea. And that's the goal. And now I want to get back to your comments. Father Wolf, thank you for stopping by here today. And Cool Motion, you told your sons to marry a Filipina. Well, if they make a good choice, probably the best thing to do. I have several videos on marrying a younger men marrying a Filipina, even making it possibly their first choice. So they don't have to wait decades in order to realize they maybe should have looked overseas a little bit to try to find someone. Elsa's channel, hello, listening from the Philippines. Then good morning to you, Elsa. Glad to have you here. I don't know who's a simp and who's not. It just doesn't interest me. And Elsa, we've been talking here. I think it started about 7:03 about how to talk to the foreigner. How he talks to his children about a relationship with, a younger Filipina, and you could turn it around, and the Filipina has to talk to her parents and siblings. I'm sure she cares what they think, and they're going to have some objections too from their experiences and just their general, I guess, intuition or just trustworthiness, how much they know about him. You want to have a peaceful, I guess, transition into that relationship. But there are times your children are going to object, and I'd like to think you can try to calmly help them to see that you weren't born yesterday, and you're able to make a sensible, although unusual, decision to marry a younger Filipina. Phoenix says, my son was a little upset we didn't let him know about our relationship before we got married. Well, and sometimes, John, children, again, if they're older, they may be living in another state. They may never have been able to see her on a webcam. If they're living with you, they can kind of get to know her a little bit long distance, through the webcams. But sometimes if they're older, they're not there. So there's just different situations. But eventually, I guess they're gonna see that it's a little different, or some children will let them know ahead of time that there's something different about it. And just don't be defensive about it, because if you're defensive about it, then you're kind of giving off the vibe that you were ashamed of marrying her, and you should never do that. You should be very matter of fact. I thought about it, I prayed about it, hopefully you got some feedback from some other people, and you really believe, that she's worth giving a chance to. She's giving you a chance to marry her. So hopefully it's a peaceful situation, but I'll just let you know I'm aware that sometimes it can be contentious. So if no one else has any more comments, and we can certainly talk about stuff here. Um, I've gotten the main part of it out of the way, and we can talk about pretty much anything. Otherwise, I'll find something else to do. Phil says he and I were a bit estranged at the time. I did make sure he was the first to meet her when she arrived, and that's good. And it is. I'm probably never going to be in that situation here, but I did the topic because other people will be, or other people have already been, and hopefully whoever watches this later will be able to at least, I don't know, have a little bit of a plan for how to deal with the negativity and the disagreement with the decision that you've made. You don't have to please everybody, and you can't. If you had to, you would fail. John says we did make sure to let him know about the baby first before letting anyone else know. So yeah, and congratulations again, John, and your wife Cindy. Going to be, or our parents will be sometime later this year. I think your child will be born, so that's going to be a massive change. And we were hoping for something like that for ourselves, which would probably take something akin to the Immaculate Conception for that to happen. Uh, I've even stopped praying for it because I've just been told too many times that's not going to happen. But I have put a little bit of thought in what I might say or how I might respond to our children someday. And hopefully you will get something from this. So I appreciate the thumbs up. I thought this topic would do better or be more interesting, but for the time being, we'll just plug away and try to make videos to help men have a strong and lasting relationship with a woman from the Philippines. It's not automatic. A lot of guys go there and they assume that they don't have to learn anything from the past, or they make the mistake of thinking they don't have to make any type of improvement in their life, and they probably do, because there are reasons the relationship broke down, and we must always learn from everything that doesn't go right, or we've wasted that opportunity. So I'm here to help people know what it's like from the inside, being married to a woman from the Philippines. We didn't have, I wanted a Christian. That's all I really um, looked for. I wasn't saying you got to check off all these boxes. I just did a video on Danica Patrick and why she may not get married. I'm going to do one on another celebrity here soon, and another one about a matchmaker and her thoughts on people's pickiness. Time doesn't wait. Time waits for no one. And if you're going to be picky, you might have just lost the chance to be with somebody. Somebody more aggressive comes in behind you and takes her, and they deserve it because the aggressor always wins. And so you want to be aggressive, go out there, pursue a wife, but please check by here so you can learn about being with a woman in a real practical level. And don't forget this: it is a marathon, not a sprint. And you're going to have to deal with some rejection. And it's different than the rejection when you're dating, But there are going to be times when you feel like, your ideas are rejected, or what you think is best is rejected, and you get all upset. but you're just going to have to be a man and get through that the way anybody, any relationship, whether it's at work or in the family or, you know, marriage, you just have to work through those things. Michael V, Victor gets the spoils. They always win too, the aggressor. Um, Even if you don't win, you want to give it your very best shot. So hopefully people will see Love Beyond the Sea and podcasts on Casting Beyond the Sea. If you don't want to look at the screen, we've got about 102 podcasts up over there, and the link is the second one up there. So everybody, thank you for being here tonight. If anybody else wants to talk about anything else related to the Philippines or not related to the Philippines, I will give you a minute, because, you know, like I said, you do these things because you want some real communication. I always have something to say, and if you want to say something, we can do that here on this live stream. So, Michael V, anything on your mind tonight? John, Cool Motion, if you're still there. Go Go Bobo, probably, what do you call those? Trolls. Trolls are welcome here, you know, maybe they'll learn something. I certainly hope so. Otherwise, it's the middle of the week, so you guys hopefully have a good rest of the week. The weather is changing, maybe not in the Philippines, but it's certainly changing for the better here in the Midwest. Well, don't trip over anything, John, on your way to those, on your walking tour, because I know how the roads can be over there and the sidewalks. It can be very, very dangerous. So be careful, enjoy your day. Hopefully it's not too incredibly hot or rainy over there. So be listening for some, watching for some more videos. Maybe we'll do a live stream next time. I don't know. I don't know what topics it takes to actually get people to, you know, more people to watch. But I appreciate everyone that was here tonight on a 7 o'clock Wednesday live stream. Hope you got something out of this. And you guys have a good evening. And let's see, Sabu seems to have missed the memo about dry season starting. Yeah, I've never really been to the Philippines, John, when it was raining a lot. It's usually been hot. And at this point in time, it's almost April. So the hot season is probably technically started already. We got married in May. I met her in August or in April. We got married in May, met her for the first time in April. We got married in May as we were planning to. Got married at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, Mother's Day, and wearing the barong and everything. Man, it was hot. But other than that, we seem to have escaped the heat on our trips, and hopefully we can do that again later on this year. So thanks for joining me, and keep watching Love Beyond the Sea.